Zelensky says the supply of new air defense systems to Ukraine are being discussed with its partners. Rescue teams deploy an underwater robot to help search for 6 missing passengers after a yacht sunk off the coast of Sicily.
Ireland's population boom has led to a housing shortage.
Ukraine is discussing the supply of new air defense systems with its partners. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky announced this in his nightly address. It comes after he urged Ukraine's allies to lift restrictions on the use of long-range weapons. He says that as a result, troops would not have to physically enter the Kursk region.
Обговорили сьогодні роботу з партнерами щодо ППО нових систем для України. Ми готуємо посилення. Була доповідь головкома Сирського. Фронт. Оборона на Покровському, Торецькому напрямках. Важка ситуація, але хлопці роблять все, щоб знищувати окупанта.
The Ukrainian army ordered residents of Pokrovsk to evacuate within 2 weeks as Russian soldiers are advancing towards the strategic node. Every day, roughly 500 to 600 people leave the city, but over 50,000 still remain in the risk area. Evacuations are also still ongoing in Russia's Kursk region. Local authorities confirm 122,000 citizens left from 9 border regions since the start of the incursion. There are currently 179 temporary accommodation centers spread over 27 regions. The rescue team looking for 6 missing people after their luxury yacht sunk off the coast of Sicily have deployed a remote-controlled underwater vehicle to assist with their search. The missing passengers are believed to be trapped in the hull of the Bayesian, which is a British-flagged super yacht. The ship lies at a depth of 50 meters. That's about 10 meters deeper than what recreational divers are certified for. As a result, each diver can go down for no longer than 12-minute shifts. The Italian Fire and Rescue Service said its divers managed to gain access to the inside of the wreck, but that obstacles and tight spaces add a layer of difficulty to the search. Italian civil protection officials believe the water conditions could have led to a water spout as the result of a sudden storm. 15 people survived and 1 body was found close to the wreck, who was confirmed to be Chef Ricaldo Thomas. Among the missing passengers are tech tycoon Mike Lynch and his 18-year-old daughter, as well as chairman of Morgan Stanley, Jonathan Bloomer.
The European Union has taken first steps in imposing higher import tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles. If approved by EU member states, the draft duty rates would mean that Chinese producers would be forced into longer-term price hikes. Discussions over electric vehicles between Brussels and Beijing have intensified in recent months as concerns that China will retaliate and trigger a trade war loom.
It is for China to propose a solution that is WTO compatible and that addresses the issues and subsidies, illegal subsidies as we see them, that the European Commission has identified in its painstaking evidence-based investigation.
The proposed duty rates are between 17% and 36%. Other companies would be taxed between 21% and 36%. The American brand Tesla, owned by billionaire Elon Musk, would also be impacted, having to pay 9% for vehicles they export from Chinese territory. The Chinese government now has 10 days to respond to the proposed tariffs. A trade defense investigation was opened after Chinese vehicles flooded the European market. Subsidies made Chinese cars cheaper, and their market share in the European Union has grown from around 4% in 2002 to 25% at the end of 2023, according to the Commission. The higher duty rates are intended to protect the European electric vehicle industry, but the Commission has said it is open to negotiating with China.
Ukraine's parliament approved a ban on religious groups tied to Moscow. One church in Ukraine has become a target as it historically has been tied to the Russian Orthodox Church.
Ми ніколи не забороняли жодну українську церкву. Ми заборонили зв'язок з російською так званою церквою, з російською армією, з ФСБ і з Путіним.
The Ukrainian Orthodox Church, or UOC, insists it is independent from Moscow.
Українська православна церква є незалежною і самоврядною в своєму управлінні і не підкоряється ніяким центрам не всередині України, тобто якимось іншим центрам, окрім Київської митрополії.
But the Ukrainian government claims the UOC remains tied to the Russian Church, who called the Russian invasion into Ukraine a holy war.
З огляду на те, що патріарх Кирил благословив убивство українців і знищення української державності, взагалі важко уявити, як можна толерувати діяльність цієї організації на території нашої країни, яка страждає від цієї війни.
The bill, voted in favor by 265 MPs, requires Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's signature, which is expected.
Former US President Barack Obama told 50,000 attendees at the Democratic Convention in Chicago to not be complacent about politics and to vote for party candidate Kamala Harris. Obama used his time at the lectern to also warn of the dangers of re-electing former US President and Republican frontrunner Donald Trump.
We do not need 4 more years of bluster and bumbling and chaos. We have seen that movie before, and we all know that the sequel is usually worse. America's ready for a new chapter. America's ready for a better story. We are ready for a President Kamala Harris.
Obama, the first black president in US history, also praised his running mate, President Joe Biden, for stepping down from the race. If elected into office at the November ballot, Harris would be the first female president to sit in the White House. Hungary celebrated its largest firework display in Budapest, but rains meant the St. Stephen's Day celebrations were off to a slow start. Incorrectly forecasted rains led to delays. Hundreds of thousands of attendees dotted the Danube River to watch the event. The colourful explosion of firecrackers, lasers and drones turned into a story by narration. Although many considered the spectacle unforgettable, others thought the money could have been better spent elsewhere.
Hát igen, lehetett volna a kórházak klimatizációjára például költeni ezt a pénzt, és lehet, hogy ki lehetett volna ezt a tűzijátékot nem 15 milliárdból, hanem 5-ből hozni, de mindegy.
Event organisers say a record number of pyrotechnic products, as well as a bigger viewing area, made the Hungarian holiday special.
Az eső és az egyórás csúszás miatt is kevesebben voltak a pesti alsórakparton, mint a megszokott, viszont abban a legtöbb megkérdezett egyetértett, hogy gyönyörű volt a tűzijáték, csak talán nem ennyiért kellett volna megtartani. Siposegyi Zoltán, Euronews Budapest.
This intersection in central Berlin is a typically busy spot for people heading to one of the city's trendy neighborhoods. It's also where a 26-year-old cyclist was hit by a truck last month and later died. Activists say people on their bicycles are being killed because there isn't enough space given to them.
People who cycle in Berlin are often facing life and death situations, are now often scared for their lives when cycling, and the government currently fails to protect cyclists.
5 people are suing Berlin's government for not providing protected space for cyclists. Protesters demonstrated last week against Berlin's local government putting on hold the majority of planned cycling superhighways. The city's local government told Euronews that it's not canceling plans for the superhighways, but delaying them because they need more time to plan them out. They said that these routes take time because they're such long distances, they're complicated, and may not be safe for cyclists to use. Plus, they need to fit into the city's budget. Last year, 446 cyclists were killed in Germany, according to a cycling NGO. Experts say part of the problem is the national government decides important road rules that restrain cities from implementing strategies that make sense for them. A transportation expert says it's a crucial factor, putting Germany behind other European countries.
Holds back even cities that would like to, go further than others, and maybe by going further they could, show that these things can work. They're not big deal, and set the example for others.
Some want to see Germany follow the example of Paris's Mayor Anne Hidalgo, who has been introducing infrastructure and spending millions to increase space for cyclists. A member of Berlin's local government says she wants her city to find inspiration in the mayor's work.
That we have more space for greener outskirts, for pedestrians, for cyclists, and in that way she changed the city to something positive. So I think Berlin can go the same way.
Activists say more lanes wouldn't just help cyclists, but drivers too.
The streets would get emptier because more people would be able to choose the bike. It is also for car drivers very stressful to share road space with cyclists.
More demonstrations are planned across Germany to protest for more safety for children cyclists.